So we're back into Cyberpunk 2077 with some more news. What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today let's talk more Cyberpunk, because it seems that, well, everybody is attacking the game nowadays, even though you would have thought that the dumpster fire that was the whole situation with Cyberpunk died out. Well, not really, it's continuing as always. But here we are reporting on the news. Of course, a big takeaway for today is that CD Projekt Red is getting attacked from all sides, from the modders, from other game developers, and we will talk about all of that in this video. So let's jump right into it with a very interesting development, because we did talk about this in a couple of videos. So you know that whole situation, that there's a vulnerability right now in Cyberpunk that kinda leaves room for hackers to potentially take control over your computer or console by the usage of mods or modded save files. And previously CD Projekt Red came in with a pretty interesting announcement, the fact that they are aware of the situation and they would fix it in an upcoming update. Until then, they urged everybody to refrain from using any files from unknown sources, as we've talked about in the previous video. Well, one of the biggest modders in the modding scene came in with his own take on it, because it seems that according to him, CD Projekt Red is trying to shift blame on the modders, though in reality it's a little bit different. So let's talk about that. We have this message right here on the official forums by the mod author of the Cyber Engine tweaks. So this is the person who created one of the best mods currently in the game, the Cyber Engine tweaks, which also in the process fixed this exploit without needing an update from CD Projekt Red. So here is his take on it. So okay, I feel that I need to say something. This kind of bad practice has to stop, he says. I wasn't planning on saying anything, but since we, the modders, are getting blamed for this, I can't just stand on the sidelines and take it. What CDPR posted above is wrong, he explains. It isn't caused by an external DLL. The vulnerability is caused by a buffer overflow in a function they use to load strings. This function is used more than 100 times in the game. It is used to load the save games, the archive assets, and other parts that we haven't investigated. This is 100% CDPR's fault. It isn't anybody else's fault. This is caused by a lack of proper unit testing. Of course, he explains right here, which makes sense because there wasn't too much testing done on the game, at least not in a proper way. What happened to owning up to your mistakes, CD Projekt Red? Not only did Pixel Rick communicate this a week ago and you didn't do anything, and he explains this should have been hotfixed a few hours after you knew about it, about the vulnerability, but then you go public lying about the nature of the vulnerability so that modders take the fall for this. What we do for free, we aren't your scapegoat, and this is definitely on you. And he further explains that this exploit isn't just a PC issue, every platform is affected, so this includes the consoles as well. It's also been exploited to gain access to GeForce Now already. Maybe you should explain to Nvidia how it is not your fault, CD Projekt Red. I am not sure that's going to work once they audit the XA. So things don't look that bright right now for CD Projekt Red, and the last thing they will want to do is to go against the modding community, which extends the life cycle of the game so much just because they add so many cool and interesting things in the game. Now, I'm not sure about that hacking of GeForce Now bit right there, because I haven't seen a single instance of anybody getting hacked because they used mods. I'm not saying it's not possible, it definitely is at this point. I'm just saying that as long as you're using trusted websites, even if you're using mods, chances are that you're not going to get hacked at all, especially if you're talking about Nexusmods, which is the biggest website out there for that. I've been using it for years. I've been modding Skyrim ever since 2013, and I never had an issue with that. They usually are on top of things if somebody tries to abuse the mods, and especially if they want to infect people's systems with malware and all that kind of stuff. So you should be safe with that. And besides, even CD Projekt Red already mentioned that you should avoid downloading anything from untrusted or unknown websites or sources. So long story short, if you want to be 100% sure you're not getting hacked or anything, just don't use mods, or maybe use the Cyber Engine tweaks because yeah, that already fixes this exploit as well. But on the same note, let's talk about another attack against CD Projekt Red, this time around from a game developer, and to be more specific, head of studio behind the game series Ori and the Blind Forest. This is a pretty successful indie game. There were a couple of them released in the series, very positive response and really amazing games. And yeah, the head of the studio is calling out multiple developers, including CD Projekt Red, No Man's Sky's Hello Games as well, and a few more on top, pretty much calling everybody a snake oil salesman in his latest thread from yesterday over on Resetera. So quite interesting read, by the way. I'm not gonna go over it entirely, over just the Cyberpunk part, but I will mention the fact that he went in quite deep against Sean Murray and No Man's Sky, which, if you paid any attention to the game for the past year, it changed dramatically. Like, it didn't receive just a bunch of updates, as he's trying to imply right here. He's also drawing shade at the fact that yeah, somehow Hello Games only released a bunch of updates and not like over a dozen DLC, even expansion sized updates that completely changed the game. He completely omits that, but he also draws shade at the fact that now Hello Games and Sean Murray are getting showered with awards. And let me tell you this, he's a little bit full of it, because if you look at the Steam page, if you look at most people's opinion, and even if you play the game right now, you're going to see that it's a completely different game, and those overwhelming positive reviews over on Steam are not there without a reason. It's, yeah, not even worth the comparison. But then comes in with the Cyberpunk one, which actually is the one that's relevant for this video, and then came Cyberpunk, according to Thomas, made by the guys that made Witcher 3, so this had to be good. Here's our Cyberpunk universe, and trust us, you can do everything. Here the entire PR department took all the cues from what worked for Molyneux and Murray and just went completely apeshit with it. Gamers were to believe that this is sci-fi GTA in first person. What's not to love, he asks. Every video released by CDPR was carefully crafted to create a picture in players' minds that was just insanely compelling. They stopped just short of outright saying that this thing would cure even cancer, he explains. This strategy resulted in a sensational 8 million pre-orders. What happened then was this, and I'm pretty sure that this is either a Croby Cat link or maybe beat 'em ups. One of these two, I didn't open them up, but the product was a fraction of what the developer hyped it up to be, and on top of that, it barely even ran on consoles that it was supposed to run surprisingly well on. And yeah, he then goes in and further explains how all of us gamers and buyers of these games were made fools out of, and how the journalists and the gaming journalists were played like fiddles by the industry. So yeah, that's actually at least partially true, especially if you look at IGN's review right now. That 9 out of 10 looks a bit suspicious, if I might say so, but otherwise, you know, it's pretty spot on with the Cyberpunk comparison, not so much with the No Man's Sky one. But you know what, this doesn't mean that the game and the company can't improve upon it. It's unfortunate that it's probably gonna take quite a bit of while until that happens. I haven't said this before, but I will say this because I keep seeing that comparison with No Man's Sky, and just to be clear, I've been covering No Man's Sky for about 3 years at this point. Pretty much every single major update was covered and more on this channel, and I will just say that no redeem story happens overnight. It took about 4 years for No Man's Sky to get full recognition and to fully redeem itself, quote unquote. Of course, that was just a team of 20 to 30 people. In CDPR's case, there's like 500 of them, so it's likely going to take way less time. But again, don't expect things to change overnight, because it's simply not possible. Maybe by next year, which they should have delayed until anyway, we're gonna see the proper version of the game when we get a few more DLCs, some more content, and maybe even that multiplayer in the process as well. But this is it with everybody's take on the company right now and the game. Now the question of the day is, are you still playing Cyberpunk 2077? I do want to see how many of you are still doing it actively, even though I did make a poll a few days ago. Thank you so much for watching. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.